Well, welcome back to Along the Road. I'm Pastor Josh, right here in Kingston, New Hampshire.
And I'm Katie, the Children's Discipleship Director here in Kingston.
And we are coming here as summer is on its way, or in its way, depending on what day it is. We had 80s today, but yesterday, the day before, was not, and who knows. But we're winding down our season, third season of Along the Road. So when you watch this one, this will be our last one for the season. We'll come back early September or something like that and hit the road running again. So I thought about all the things we've done this year and all the different topics we've gone over and conversations we've had. And we do once in a while talk about books and books that we read.
We do.
So what I thought was, if we're going into summertime, in summertime usually people might find time to read a book if they don't usually have time to read a book. And I like to think of books in different areas. So books that challenge us, maybe a different theology book that I don't normally read. Fiction books, some people might even think of, I'm going to grab a nice clean beach novel or something like that, which I call very light fiction. Mm-hmm. There's a reason they read fast. There's a reason you can get through it in 5 days. But all of that reading of all types, very good and good for you. So I sent you a message and said, let's just go over different types of summer reading that we hope to do.
Yes.
Working on. Doesn't mean we're going to get through it all. But these are some of the things on the list, or at least
that's a good way to
working its way through there. So one of the first things that I think maybe we'll go heavy to light. What summer reading or hopeful next reading over the summer would be for you in the area of Bible, theology, in that realm? What are you looking forward to? Maybe even some you've already started, but this is where we're going.
Right. I haven't started this yet, but this is what I'm looking forward to. Praying with Paul.
Yes.
So I think it might have even been recommended in the back of our all church book read.
Yes.
And
you're right about that.
So I thought, I've never looked at the New Testament in quite that angle before. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I think that would be good. Its subtitle is A Call to Spiritual Reformation.
Right. And it's by D.A. Carson.
Yes.
Who is a phenomenal writer and theologian. So very interesting.
You want me to pass it along when I'm
maybe
done?
If I have time for that, we could definitely.
You probably already have quite a stack in that.
I have a stack of different things that I'm working through as well. The one that I'm working on, I started already, so in some ways I've cheated, but it takes me a long time to get through these extra type of books, especially in this type that take time when you read a little bit of it, and it's like I really got to process what's been said. And a lot of it has to do with theology and our culture and who we are modern day. It's called, and unlike you, I didn't bring actual books. I didn't have them with me. I printed them. Right. But it's called 5 Lies of Our Anti-Christian Age.
Ooh.
It's by a woman named Rosaria Butterfield. And she used to be a very liberal, feminist college professor.
Okay.
And God rescued her, and her life is transformed from there. She speaks a lot to the LGBTQI community as well, because that's part of her background, part of what she was part of as well. And she's had, her biography is really good, and other things that they're very good. This one I found actually encapsulates some of the picture of who she was and her past and what brought her to Christ and how that worked, which is a phenomenal story, even in the short bits that this book shares. But then there are literally 5 areas that she talks about that are lies that have kind of permeated culture that have placed it in anti-Christian age, like anti-understanding who we are. And so as I'm working through it, it takes a long time. And she's very detailed. She was an English professor, a literary professor.
Nice.
And so she writes with these details. And then there's these footnotes at the bottom. And the footnotes can take up half a page sometimes because she wants to make sure you see the context of what is there, the context historically of where she has come to and what is happening there. And even fairly what people are saying on different sides of an issue, she wants you to see what is said and where that came from, how she speaks against that and those different things.
She sounds very thorough.
Extremely thorough, which makes me take a lot of time to get through it. But it is a very, very good book. The description here just says, in this powerful book, Rosaria Butterfield uses scripture, and she does, to confront 5 common lies about sexuality, faith, feminism, gender roles, and modesty. often promoted in our secular culture today. It's written in the style of a memoir, which it is, but it's a very deep, detailed memoir. And it explores her personal battle with these lies herself that she's had to live with, interwoven with cultural studies, literary criticism, theology, and will help the reader see the beauty in the biblical womanhood, marriage, and motherhood. It's a phenomenal. I'm a quarter of the way through it, but it's already. I'm like, I'd have to go back and like soak in on that again.
Yeah.
So this would not be in the light summer reading.
No.
But to walk through it, I think would be good to understand and to know just the beauty of biblical womanhood, motherhood, but also from someone that was completely affronted to all that in most of her young adult life. And so her story is very interesting. And
yeah, it sounds great.
I with any of these, if we need, we can put a link there. I didn't know until I went to like kind of get my little write-up again that there's also a study guide to go with the book. That would have been helpful, I guess, to have the study guide. But
it depends on if you're the kind of person that thinks with a pencil in your hand.
Yes. Yeah.
Then that would be very helpful. But not everyone. That's not the way everyone processes.
That's true. That's true. So for those deeper readings, I mean, that was one of the ones on my list. I tend to get a small list of books for my study, for my increased study that are not connected to my sermon, not connected to our Bible study. And it kind of is a range. And this one seemed to encompass a very good range. And I know, it says she speaks to the biblical womanhood and marriage and motherhood, but it's a lot broader than that.
Well, and there's a lot of value in understanding culture.
Absolutely. And understanding the movement of culture and what's happened over this period of time. And so she's very good at that, and other authors. And she mentions other authors and mentions writers on different sides of the issue and talks about how they evolved to where they are. And it's really, really interesting how she approaches that and sees that, because she has been there since the beginning. So she's one of those authors that I like to help me understand and know, and also how we engage in this culture as well. So very good. If you have a chance, check it out. So the other lighter type of stuff, I think most of it's lighter now. Other books on our list are things like different types of fiction books. I said fiction or light reads, and literature, which to me are slightly different. I think they're different. And
I thought you said nonfiction.
Nonfiction, I have that too. And this could be anything. And also, is there anything you're going to read? So I'll take any of the rest on the list. We can go through them, and let's see, what do you have?
Okay, so my nonfiction
yes
is The Outline of Sanity, A Life of G.K. Chesterton.
Oh, interesting.
By Alzina Stone Dale.
Yes, very nice.
So I've read several of Chesterton's books, and a number of books that I have read have quoted his book, I think it's called Theology? I forget.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember all the names
just
of
went
his book.
blank.
He wrote a tremendous amount of things.
Orthodoxy.
Orthodoxy, yeah.
That's what it's called.
I know that book, yeah.
I thought, he's such an interesting writer.
Yes.
I'd like to know more about him.
Have you ever read his Father Brown series?
I've read some of them, yes.
It is a phenomenal series. I had it in a whole collection once. I could read the whole thing as it connects the story. They tend to connect after a while, that there is character development. It's wonderful, wonderful stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of theology in those stories.
Yeah, I know. I've read also his book on St. Francis.
Mm-hmm.
That was very good.
Oh, very nice. I am looking at someone I don't know very much about. A guy named Eric Liddell, or Liddell. People know of him from the Olympics.
Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire, the movie. But a guy named David wrote a biography about him. And I've seen Chariots of Fire, these things. But to read an actual biography on a person, that's different than, this is what the movie says.
Well, because the movie is only the beginning of his life.
Yeah.
He goes on to be a missionary
to China. Goes on to be a missionary, and I'm just curious about all of that, what it wraps in all of those things. Mm-hmm. So if I get to it, he's the nonfiction next type of thing that I'm going towards for sure.
I have there's a book series by Jeff Benge, Benge.
Yeah.
And I have the Eric Liddell one. If you want to borrow it,
I'll take it. I'll take it. Why not?
It will. It will not be as heavy a read as your other one.
You need something for the light times, or something for when we do go on vacation. That
you need
it's easier.
Variety.
Yes, the variety does help. That's why the heavy read is good to have, and then have these other ones.
Because sometimes at night you don't want to sit down with a heavy read.
Yeah. You
want something lighter.
Oh yeah, that is for sure. Something I can relax to and not have to remember every little detail.
Right.
That's for sure. So what about what other books do you have in the fiction world, world, whatever you have here?
The other book that I brought is a mystery by a woman named Josephine Tay. It's called The Man in the Queue. I have not read this one yet, but I've read a number of hers.
Okay.
So she died in 1956.
Okay.
But her mysteries are wonderful, and they're all very different. They're not. It's not a character that you follow all the way through. They're all very different.
They're like standalones.
Yes, very much so. Mm-hmm. And the one that I read within maybe a month or 6 weeks, I particularly liked. It was called The Daughter of Time, and it is a crash course in English history, as well as being a mystery.
Interesting.
Because her protagonist is a policeman who was very good at reading faces.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he's laid up in the hospital. He's got like a broken leg. For whatever reason, he had to be in the hospital with his broken leg. I don't know if it was multiple fractures or what.
Sure.
So here he is, flat on his back, bored to tears. And a friend of his says, okay, since you like to read faces, went to, I don't know, a used bookstore or something, and found a whole bunch of prints of people.
Oh, interesting.
So that historical people, or current to him, I don't know. Anyway, just for him to flip through, look at the faces, and the one that really caught his attention was Richard II.
Interesting.
He's the one who supposedly killed his nephews in the tower.
Oh, okay.
And that's the mystery. Did he really do it?
Did he really do it?
And the guy, the protagonist, is looking at the picture going, he does not have the face of a killer.
Right.
So this, of course, is before the internet. So it's all legwork, but of course he can't go anywhere.
Anywhere.
Various people who come, there's a nurse who's got a couple of history. So he starts with just basic history books to understand the story and then
do the detective work.
And then he, his friend that had brought in the pictures finds him a student who's doing some research already at the Victoria and Albert Museum, because this is in London.
He's doing all this by proxy.
Yes. And he just lies there and thinks about it. Yeah. So anyway, you end up learning all this history.
Interesting.
It's fast.
And you're trying to figure out the mystery.
That's right.
Oh,
it's
very nice.
Really fun way to get a review of British history. So this is my next one by her.
All right. Well, mine is also a mystery.
Okay.
And I've read some of these mysteries before by Louise Penny.
Yes.
Chief Inspector Gamache stories. They've made some of these into Amazon series called Three Pines. But I have a whole list of her books here. This is the list in order.
The official list.
Yeah, and I'm not even halfway through it. I think How the Long Way Home, I think, is my next one. So I still have 10 more after this.
Well,
but
the nice thing is she's still writing.
She's still writing, yeah. She's very good. She's like the Canadian Agatha Christie. I love what she writes. Yes, you follow some of the same characters, and there's character development and different things will happen in their life. But she writes in a manner where, like, I've read other mysteries that are what I call quick reads.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay. But there's a lot more depth to what is here. It's not just understanding the mystery, but understanding the depth of what happened in the person or what happened in their psyche or in their religious belief, the history of Quebec and what was going on there. I mean, just all of these things that she puts into this.
So it's not just plot driven.
It's not plot driven, and there's a lot of sense of what is going on and understanding the mind of the murderer, understanding where they are and where they came from. So the person who actually did it or the people who actually did it, you may not have noticed at first. But that's because you may not have known their history connected through this, but there is something that drives that deeper, that drives into the it's usually a murder, drives into this violence of something or someone missing in this place up here. So I do look forward to the next one, and I'll get there hopefully this summer. I'll get to that one as well. They're fun to read. They're not super light reading, but that's one of those you can relax, you can put it down and enjoy. Her style is really good. I do like that. Sometimes people's rhythm of writing can be a little difficult. And I guess that's more of a personal preference.
Yep.
I like this.
But that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have to know that, which preference do you like? This, why don't I like this book? The story sounds good. Well, sometimes it's the rhythm of writing or the manner of writing. You can't hear the voice right. That's what I call it. I know there's not a heard voice, but you have a voice when you're reading.
Sure.
And you feel a voice. I think you feel a voice off the paper.
That's why it's so funny when you see a book made into a movie.
Yeah.
That's not how I pictured it.
Not how I pictured it. And sometimes I'm like, that's better than how I pictured it. That's pretty good.
Right.
So yeah, I do, all of those do kind of make sense as well. What is your read? Did we say reread? Is this your reread or is this not a reread? Sort of.
I have read this one.
You have.
But the reason, it's a new category.
Oh, interesting.
This is the category of read aloud. Because I know that your family really likes to read books.
We do like to, yes.
And this is called Here There Be Dragons by James A. Owen. And it is the first in a series. It's called, the subtitle, or the name of the series is The Chronicles of the Imaginarium Geographica.
It's a big name.
It is. It's about maps.
Oh, nice. I like that.
But it's a great adventure story.
Interesting.
And the three people who set out on it don't, it's the classic, they don't realize what they're getting into till they're already in it and don't know how to get out again. So it's definitely fantasy.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. I read it aloud to my kids, and they all enjoyed it.
Fantasy stories are fun. They're good to get into. Get the imagination going. Those types of things.
Yes, and it's lighter too. It's a different form of light.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than mysteries.
That's true.
But fun nevertheless.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we were thinking the other day about literature, and I thought, I haven't read in a while Pride and Prejudice.
Oh yeah.
So that's on my list.
Yep.
To go back and read Pride and Prejudice again. And I always find it interesting. I don't often reread a book, though. I think it's good to do. If you really liked it, I think it's good to do.
Yeah.
And it's been quite a span of time. So I think when you do, you pick up not just more because you're reading a second time, but you pick up more because you're more mature. You see things different. You understand better. There's a lot more nuance to it that you pick up.
Yes.
Jane Austen's quite a writer.
Right.
Her rhythm of writing I like. And the way she writes, even in some of that older style, it feels elevated. I like that, because
well, the vocabulary for one thing.
The vocabulary is there, the feeling is there. But I love the classic story, The Pride and Prejudice, because a lot of people, when they think about it, they always talk about, of course, Darcy was Pride, Prejudice. He was the one because he's the aristocrat and he's all the money. But I love the story because it ends up, they both are. And the poor girl, the one that's the common girl, she has just as much prejudice and pride as he does. And you wouldn't have seen that in the beginning. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not natural. Even people I've talked to that haven't read it, but they've seen the movie, they haven't picked up on that. They don't always pick up on that. They think it's, all the guy's fault, which, it's both. I get it. But in the sense of that on both ends of this spectrum, there was the high society and the lower side. They were both prideful. They were both prejudiced, and they both had a lot of mistakes. I do like to go back and read some of those. Yeah. And this one's not a very long read. It's decent to do. And sometimes instead of reading it, we will pull out there is an old BBC version of this one. It is 6 1-hour episodes. This was before Netflix, before
color almost.
Before miniseries would come out. But this was an original BBC type of miniseries. Colin Firth is Darcy. I mean, the actors and actresses are great, and they use a large amount of direct quotes and lines from the book. And so with that amount of time, it was done BBC. They were very, very. And to this day, other than maybe the quality of the picture because it's older, it is very well done and really picks up the book I think, better than any other one I've seen. So, you know, if you want to skip that and go find that version of it, I don't know how you'd find that one. I'm sure it's around somewhere. Find it in some archives or something.
Or a library or something.
Yeah, it's a 6th version BBC Pride and Prejudice. And you'll know you got the right one because I always remember Colin Firth is the one who's Mr. Darcy, so he's in there. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. But yeah, the opening line of this book is essentially the opening line of the movie as well. I mean, it's just, it matches so many things, and so many things where they are literally just drawing the dialogue right out of the book, following the story. I don't think they've changed the story much at all. And every actor, actress seems to fit the part it was written for really well. And so you kind of know, and in those types of things, if you're going to go not reading, I know we're talking about reading, but if there's one where you'd be like, this would work, that would be the one.
There you go.
That'd be the one. It's kind of like, you know, I know they changed the story, but, you know, when you watch the full unabridged version of all the Lord of the Rings series, they got pretty close, and they really did a lot of intention to be right on the book. It's pretty close, you know, so, but reading it's still better. But yeah, I say it's summertime. You sit on the porch, you go somewhere, go on vacation. Hopefully, you have a moment to read. The younger your kids are, maybe less moments you have to do that.
Except they go to bed earlier.
They do go to bed earlier. That is true. So you might have a moment to read then. But if you get a chance, pick a book to read. You know, maybe you need a light one. But I would encourage people listening to have books broad like this.
Yes.
And I think, you know, there's other genres you can look at it, but just think of what's the breadth of what you read. We tend to kind of fall into a rut. I read this same book. You know,
the same type of book.
Yeah. Like I like the Louise Penny books, but it's been over a year since I've read, or a year and a half since I've read one of her books. I like them, and I could have just kept reading them, but no, you have to spread out and come over here, try things. Maybe you don't like a book, and you get a quarter of the way through it. It's okay to put it down.
It is.
It's okay to be done.
It didn't used to feel that way, but
it's okay to be done.
I'm
you know,
getting there.
and move on. But try that. You know, I always pick up things because I'm not good at it, but some of them I find that I start to understand it, like books of poetry. I like poetry when other people say it because I hear it better. But it's harder for me to read it and understand. Oh, I'll go back once in a while, so I'll pick one up and I'll go through parts of it, and then I'm like, no, I can't get through it. Okay, put it down.
That's another one where small chunks is better.
Yeah. I think in the end, the more we read, and we've said this before, the more we read this, the more we understand the literary value of Scripture, which also helps us increase our ability to read Scripture itself, because God gave it to us in that way, in many different genres within there. You know, and He has different forms of literature so that we can draw out His story to us. So that's just our encouragement, I think, for the summer. Go out and read. Multiple books to read. Let us know what you're reading, or maybe something you want us to try to read.
Yeah.
If you really, really impress us, maybe we'll actually read it and tell you what it's like right here on the show. Next year, we could do that. But between now and next year, grab some books this summer, and I hope you have a great summer.
Take care.